So after watching the story of Pangu, you can see how the idea of the earth god came about, that the earth in itself was like the four directions, the breath, the wind, and all of that, that Pangu is basically the earth. And therefore, let me just write down the earth god as one principle. But there is another important aspect to Chinese religious thinking, and that is the idea of ancestrism. The ancestrism is the idea that identity is given through family, the ancestors, and the place that they live on. So you probably know that in Chinese culture, the elders are respected very highly. Elders are seen as more wise, and they would give you advice when you needed some help. And so the dead would be buried in a certain specific place of the family plot. That was the place where the ancestors would be buried. Their spirits would still be present in that, as was believed, and the afterlife was seen as a continuation of family life and the community. During the Shang dynasty, and later then into the Sui dynasty, and we see some of the dates here. The Shang dynasty was actually very long, from 1750 to 1100 BCE. That is like 650 years under the same dynasty. That switched over then to the Sui dynasty, which is kind of an extension of the Shang dynasty, from 1100 to 256. That's 850 years. During that time, it came up the idea that not only is the earth a divine being, but developed the idea of a supreme ruler or moderator of the universe, and that was called Tian. Tian can be translated as the heavens. Tian gives rain, gives victory, gives fortune or misfortune, and is regulated moral life. All things ultimately derive from Tian. Tian is not directly worshipped, but it was a personification of the natural law. Other lesser deities were the sun, the moon, the stars, the rivers, the mountains, the four directions, and certain localities. In Beijing, you still see the altar of heaven, built on an artificial mound at the time, where the emperor offered worship in the winter season during the winter solstice. And now watch this little video on the altar of heaven in Beijing.